the cloud who loved the mountains. Once upon a time, in a sky so wide and endless, there lived a little cloud named Nimbus. Nimbus was unlike any other cloud in the sky. While most clouds drifted lazily with the wind, content to wander wherever the breeze might take them, Nimbus always gazed downward, enchanted by the world below. Most of all, Nimbus loved to look at the mountains. These mountains were magnificent, standing tall and proud, their snowy peaks glistening in the sunlight. When the first rays of morning touched them, they shimmered with golden light, and in the evening they blushed in hues of pink and purple. The mountains seemed so strong and steady, a stark contrast to Nimbus, who was light and ever-changing, shaped by the winds and the weather. Every day, Nimbus would float above the mountains, watching as the sun painted their slopes and the shadows danced in the valleys. Sometimes, Nimbus would send down a gentle rain, hoping the mountains would notice and appreciate the gift of water for their trees, flowers, and all the little creatures who made the mountain their home. But the mountains, quiet and dignified, never replied. They stood tall, reaching up to the sky but never moving, their silence both mysterious and comforting. Nimbus often wondered what it would be like to be a mountain, solid, unmovable, and admired by all. But as much as Nimbus wished to be closer, the wind always tugged at him, carrying him away to new places. Still, Nimbus always returned, drawn by the beauty and serenity of the mountains. One morning, as Nimbus drifted closer than ever before, he noticed something peculiar. A family of mountain goats was climbing the rocky slopes, and a tiny kid seemed to be struggling. The little goat slipped, and for a moment it looked as if it might fall. Nimbus felt a flutter of worry. He wished he could help. Suddenly, Nimbus had an idea. He gathered himself up, becoming puffier and denser, until his shadow cast a cool shade over the mountainside. The rocks, now less slippery in the shade, gave the little goat better footing. With a few careful steps, the kid made it back to its family. The mountain goats bleated in delight, and Nimbus felt a swell of happiness. From that day on, Nimbus began to watch not just the beauty of the mountains, but all the life that depended on them. He saw eagles soaring above the peaks, marmots scurrying among the rocks, fields of wildflowers blooming in the meadows, and rivers sparkling as they wound their way down to the valleys. Nimbus realized that even though he couldn't become a mountain, he could help care for them in his own special way. When the streams ran low, Nimbus would gather moisture and sprinkle gentle rain, nourishing the thirsty earth. On hot summer days, he cast his cool shadow, offering relief to the animals and plants. When snow was needed for the winter, he gathered cold winds and dropped soft flakes that blanketed the mountaintops. As the seasons passed, the mountains began to notice the little cloud's kindness. They could not speak, but they showed their gratitude in their own way. In spring, the mountain slopes burst into a riot of colors as wildflowers bloomed. In autumn, the trees turned golden and red, their leaves swirling in the wind. The rivers flowed clear and strong, singing songs of life through the valleys. One day, as Nimbus floated lower than ever before, a gentle breeze brought him close to the highest peak. For a brief moment, Nimbus and the mountain touched. The contact was cool and gentle, like a soft embrace. At that moment, Nimbus felt a deep connection, a friendship that needed no words. Nimbus realized that love didn't mean being exactly alike or always being together. It meant caring for each other, respecting differences, and helping however you could. The mountains stood tall and silent, but they welcomed Nimbus and all the gifts he brought. Nimbus, in turn, made the mountains even more beautiful and full of life. Years went by, and Nimbus grew from a little cloud into a wise, caring presence in the sky. Other clouds noticed and began to follow his example, bringing rain, shade, and snow to the mountains. The sky and earth worked together in harmony, each playing their part in the great dance of nature. And so, the cloud who loved the mountains found his place in the world, not by changing who he was, but by embracing his unique gifts. Nimbus learned that even the softest cloud could make a difference, and that love, in all its forms, could bridge even the greatest distances. To this day, if you look up into the sky above the mountains, you might see a gentle cloud drifting by, casting a cool shadow or sprinkling rain. And if you listen closely, you might even hear the mountains whispering their thanks, their silent strength a reminder that we are all connected, no matter how different we may seem. And so, the story of Nimbus and the mountains continues, carried on the wind, whispered by the rivers, and sung by the birds who soar between the earth and sky. The cloud and the mountains remain friends forever, each giving, each receiving, together creating a world full of wonder, beauty, and love. In the heart of the sky, Nimbus learned that every little act of kindness matters, and that when we open our hearts to others, whether they are as solid as mountains or as light as clouds, we make the world a better, brighter place. And that, dear listener, is the story of the cloud who loved the mountains.